Good morning or good evening, everyone, depending on your time zone. Welcome to the December Office Add-ins community call. We have 3 things on our agenda today that we'll be going over. Firstly, marketplace leads for Office plugins are now becoming available in the Referrals Workspace. We also are going to go over add-in auto-open for Word and Excel, and the top 5 AppSource validation errors. So our presenters today will be Sudha Padmanabhan, who's a senior product manager, Wang, who's a principal product manager, and Elizabeth Samuel, who is a senior technical writer. And with that being said, Sudha, do you want to take over to go over marketplace leads?
Sure. Thanks for that quick intro, Preethika. Hey everyone, I'm Sudha Padmanabhan. I work as a senior product manager in the Microsoft Partner Center team, mainly dealing with the Referrals Workspace. I just wanted to take a quick poll of the audience here. How many of you are just enrolled in the Office plugin developer program versus commercial marketplace or the MCPP program? If you could just give me a thumbs up or something like that, if you're part of the Office developer program only. I see. Okay. Cool. So that I assume that the rest of you are probably already signed up for the MCPP program, and there's a reason why I'm asking for that information. So I just wanted to quickly talk about leads. So Office plugin leads are generated when a customer, a user of your plugin, says get it now in AppSource, and it includes all of their contact information. Things like name, email address, phone number, job title, those kinds of things. And so in June of this year, we actually started delivering these leads into Partner Center. So in the past, we didn't have this functionality, and developers had to have a CRM system or had to sign up for Azure Table Storage or something like that in order to get these leads and then process them in whichever way they wanted. And so we've made that configuration optional in the offer publish flow. You might have seen that. And additionally, we've basically tried to make Partner Center Referrals Workspace sort of like your CRM to manage all your leads and opportunities. We want it to be that one-stop shop, right? That one place that you'd go to where, we're also investing in lead enrichment for your success. So in August, we actually shipped these indicators that validate whether the email address is actually, whether the email address is valid, in that if you sent out like an email nurture campaign, you would know that the email address would be delivered in the inbox. And similarly, the validity of the phone number as well. So these are available not only in the interface, but also as filters. So you can prioritize leads if you're getting a lot of them. I do know a lot of Office plugins do generate a large volume of leads. So, those are just handy tools that you can use inside of Partner Center Referrals Workspace. We're also looking at investing in lead enrichment. If you can see here, we're looking at sort of pulling in maybe the LinkedIn profile, their location. We've added a lead rating, number of interactions with Microsoft, events that they've attended, these signals to help you sort of have better conversations with your leads and prioritize them as well. And product usage. This is another one that we think will be valuable, where you'll know how engaged they are with certain of the Microsoft products. So I wanted to leave everyone here with sort of a call to action. So we're doing this backend linking process just to make sure that we have a legacy sort of tech stack for the Office developer program. And so we're looking to sort of link up the Office developer account with your Partner Center account, which is tied up with your MPN or MCPP partner ID. So this consent form will basically help us do that. And then you can access the Referrals Workspace and see your leads in there. So go ahead if you need to, sign up for that, and then we'll reach out offline and help you through that process of getting onboarded into Partner Center Referrals Workspace. All right.
Great.
Okay.
Thanks for the. All right. Yoon, do you want to talk about add-in auto-open for Word and Excel?
Yeah, all right. So hello, everyone. My name is Wang Yun, and I am the product manager for Word and PowerPoint extensibility. And today, I would like to talk something related to add-in auto-open for Word and Excel. Recently, we received different requests from the partners that they would like to have the auto-open or auto-installation capabilities for the add-ins. We already have different functions enabled to help our customers to do the auto-open or auto-launch, if you want to call it. So before going into some questions or some use cases reviews for the new requirements, I would like to do a recap of the current behavior for auto opens. So for auto opens, there are different understandings from partners. Some of the partners, they would like to have the add-in to be automatically installed and opened when a specific document has been opened. So when you open up a Word document, then you're adding, and that is a document that is created with the add-in so that they want to have the add-in to be opened automatically. And some of the partners, they would like to have any of their document to open the add-in automatically. For example, for a company, they would like to have their company add-in to be opened all the time for all the documents. And sometimes the auto open or auto launch means that we don't want to do the auto installation for the add-in, but we only want to open those add-ins for those clients that already installed those add-ins. So different opinions or different understandings of the auto open. And today we actually have different options for you to open the add-in automatically. So first one is that you could automatically open the task pane when an add-in is installed. So we have documentation here, I put here, so that you can take a look. From there, you could configure which page or which task pane in your add-in you want to auto-open during the after the installation. And another way is that you could embed an add-in into a document. So you could do some XML changes to insert or embed an add-in into a specific Excel spreadsheet or Word document, etc., so that whenever this document gets opened, the add-in will be automatically installed and opened for that user. The problem with this is that the add-in will be persist into the document all the time. So unless the user knows how to change that underneath the XML, normally the user cannot turn off that auto open feature themselves through this embedded way. And we also have an auto open feature for a specific document that you could, the add-in can control whether to persist the add-in to be automatically opened or not. So in this way, we could control we can control that behavior through either XML settings or the underneath add-in code, so that the user can choose, okay, I opened up this add-in this time, but next time, whether I want to have this add-in to be automatically launched again or not. So everything can be set through the add-in code. And for this feature specifically, it is still for a specific document, which means that you always set the auto open feature for a document. But if you want to say, hey, I want to have my other documents to auto launch the same add-in, you cannot do it with this feature. And the benefit of this, again, is that from the customer perspective, they could leverage your add-in code to turn on or turn off this auto open capability. I also put a link here. But besides these options, we still received different auto open requirements. I have put a survey link, a forms link here, and I hope that you could help us to understand your scenarios as well, to give us some feedback for your auto open requirements. So there are a couple of requirements that we are gathering now. So the first of all, the document automation. So many of our customers, for example, they would like to do the data classification, document classification check-in, or encryption of the document, or setting the labels, data integrity check-ins, etc. So for these purposes, they would like to have the auto add-in to be automatically launched in the background, so that whenever a user tries to change the document or upload the document or even share the document, the add-in underneath can check the integrity of the data or check the whether the data has been encrypted or not, etc. So many companies require this capability, and also this is not for just one specific document. This is actually from, for example, for a company-wide, that they would like to have all the Word document or the Excel document to automatically launch some specific security-related or data classification-related add-ins underneath to check all the documents. And also we have another use case that people want to say, hey, if I share a document to others, I want others to open that add-in automatically with the document as well. So currently, you can partially do it with the embedded add-in, which that currently our customers or partners, if they have a system, they can have that system to create a document embedded with some specific add-ins. However, this requirement is more broad, that they don't require a system to create that document. This is to say, when anyone creates a document, they could have some settings to say whether I want to share the add-in as well with others, so that they can be automatically opened with the shared files. In another case, the third one is an interesting one, especially in EDU education field, that, for example, many teachers, they reviewed different documentation from the students. In this way, that the teachers always receive the different homeworks, different papers from students, so that they would like to have every document to auto-launch their add-in to give feedbacks. So this is very important for them, because they don't like to open the add-in for each document one by one, because every time they will open up like 20, 30, 50 documents at the same time. So they don't want to do to waste the clicks to open the add-ins. So the proposal here is that they just would like the office to remember the last status of the launching add-in. So if a add-in has been launched last time when using a Word document, then next time, whenever a document has been opened, the add-in will be automatically launched as well. And also, some partners are asking whether the document can be auto-launched for a specific locations. So all these settings could be set by the admin themselves. So many of the settings here should be controlled by the administrators for the office. So again, I put a link here so that hopefully you can put some of your ideas for these scenarios and give your feedbacks as well. And as I said at the beginning, so different people has different understandings for auto launch. So many partners, when they say auto launch, they actually mean that auto install with auto open of add-in. So we also have different auto install requirements listed here, which are sort of interesting. And I would like also take advantage of this opportunity to have your opinions in the survey here. And the first one is that if I have both COM and GS add-ins, so this is very common that many of our partners started their migration from COM add-ins to the GS add-ins, but normally there will be a duration of time that it takes time to fully migrate it from COM to GS. So in this way, people want to say, hey, if on my Windows client, if a customer has the COM add-in installed, could you please also do the auto install for the other devices? For example, if a user now open up a Word Online or Excel Online, or they just open up a new Mac, Word, etc. So those clients will open the same add-in from the same brand automatically. So that's the first one. And also, because of this migration, people think that right now we have the stall the user need to go to the stall to install the GS add-ins, and also we can do the side loadings, etc. But we also have a way to say, hey, the people are asking why not you provide some installation experience as COM, so that we can bundle the GS add-in into our main application installation process, so that when you install a application, your related add-in can be automatically installed to your Office client. So this will also help some of our clients to say, during my migration process from COM to GS, I would like to take advantage of this way to replace my COM add-in with the GS add-in on some of our clients' system. And also we have the add-in should be installed and launched automatically for the company's standard templates, which means that for so many companies or enterprises, they would like to create something based on the company standard templates. So they would like to say, if a user choose a template that is created by the company, then the embedded add-ins should be automatically installed and launched for the user within in the company. And also in the share mode, when a user tries to share a file to others, sometimes they would like to have the add-ins to be automatically installed and opened, so that the others can continue working based on this file. So these are all the requirements we have received today, and we are looking forward to getting your feedback through the forums survey pasted here. And hopefully we can get more of your feedbacks, and hopefully we can get more of your contacts so that we can have further discussions. Thanks.
Great. Thanks, Ian. All right, Elizabeth, are you ready to present about the top 5 AppSource validation errors?
Yes, I am. So good day, good night, everyone. I am here to talk about the top 5 AppSource validation errors that Office add-ins can face when they're submitted. So we thought that this would be really helpful. We're doing a blog post on this, and we'll share that link out probably with the when we update the page that includes the information about this community call. We'll make sure that the blog link is there too. So I don't know how many of you actually submit to AppSource. And so we hope that this is really useful information to the community. The 5 top errors are usually these 5. Additional charges are not disclosed to users. The first run experience is unclear. Sometimes we've seen things where it just says sign in. It doesn't say what the add-in does, anything like that. There are no links for sign in, sign out, or sign up. The provider name doesn't match the publisher name, and the testing instructions are missing or inadequate for the reviewers to go through. So let's dig into them a little more. First up, additional charges are not disclosed. Some things you need to ask yourself: does your add-in have any dependencies on additional accounts and services? And particularly, do they require purchase? So if the user needs to pay for any of these accounts, any of these services, the add-ins are usually free, but if they're connected to SaaS offers or anything like that that require them to spend money, you definitely need to let them know. Next up, we have that the first run experience is unclear. So to continue from the first point, if one of the key things we have in the policies is that the add-in needs to have a clear value proposition. Why should I get this add-in? What's really so awesome about it? What are the benefits? So you want to make sure and have that description, like even on the add-in itself in the start screen, so that they've installed the add-in and maybe it was a while ago why do I have this add-in? What's the point? And you want to make sure that you have at least a couple of lines that explain, this is what the add-in is for, this is what it can do for you, and that should be on the start screen of the add-in. Is the first run experience seamless? So first time they come in, they're not familiar with it, make sure that they can go through, it's seamless, it makes sense, and they can do what they're trying to do. If it needs to have sign up or sign in, there's another thing, error that's related to that too. I'll go into a bit more about that. But if they need to sign up with some account, you want to make sure that that's clear to them in the UI before they sign up for something. If, however, it's targeting enterprise like larger organizations, then you don't necessarily need to explain about the value proposition, because the assumption is that the company installed it through centralized deployment or something like that. But you still want to make sure that there's information on there, a link to a site or an email contact, so that the users in that enterprise can contact you and say, hey, I want to know more about this, or send them to a link so that they can read for themselves. Next up, no links for sign in, sign out, or sign up. So it's like, hey, here's a sign-in screen. It doesn't say what you're signing in with, anything like that. And so you want to make sure that that information is very clear on the add-in sign-in screen. If they need to sign up, you want to make sure that all those links are really clear. They know exactly what they need to do as they go through the add-in experience. Is there an easy link to sign out once they're in? Those kind of things. Again, if it's targeting enterprises, then you don't need to have it if the enterprise itself controls that login situation. And so as long as the individual user doesn't need to go and figure out what account I need and those kind of things, and this is maybe something that uses single sign-on with the enterprise work account, then it's managed by the enterprise, and you don't necessarily need to have all of this information on the add-in itself. Okay. Fourth one is the provider name doesn't match the publisher name. This one is really important because there's a provider name element that I'm thinking a lot of you are familiar with. In the manifest itself, it's pretty near the top, if I remember correctly. And that basically says company X or ISV Y or whatnot, they're the ones who created this add-in. So when you go in now to AppSource and you're uploading your manifest, they check to make sure that the publisher account you're using to submit your add-in, that the information matches. So it would be not so good if you have like Microsoft, let's use Microsoft as an example, that says, I'm using a Microsoft publisher account, but my add-in says it's the provider is Google. Seems a little iffy to me. And so we check for that kind of information to ensure that the add-in is coming from this particular publisher. So they need to match up. And we want to make sure that when the person goes onto AppSource and they see this is the publisher, that when they actually use the add-in and look at the add-in metadata, for example, that they are in sync and doesn't cause confusion. And last up, this one is the testing instructions. This one is really important for particularly going through the AppSource validation and verification process. And so we have the certification process means that the reviewers, especially depending on how much volume they have, they really don't have the time to come back to each person and say, hey, we need this piece of information from you, or we need clarification on this, or we need the test accounts, or we need keys, or all those kind of information. So what you want to make sure you do is when you submit your notes for certification, if you upload a document that includes screenshots and those kinds of things, you provide information like the test credentials, especially if they need to have an account, if they need to pay for something. We can't have the reviewers trying to go through the purchase process and all that kind of thing. And so what you need to do is provide those kind of credentials. If they need product keys, provide those, any kind of test data so that they can successfully get through the process of using your add-in without having to pull out their own credit card, which would not be reasonable to expect. So there are some other things, like if it has custom functions, which some of the Office add-ins can support in Excel, then you want to make sure that at least one of the custom functions, you're very clear about how the tester or the certifier needs to go through and use the custom function so that they can try all the others. You don't necessarily need to explain how all of them work, but you at least need to give an example so they have an idea how to do the others. We really suggest that if you have super complex add-in scenarios, or it would just be really helpful to have screenshots going through the flows so that the reviewer knows what to expect. So there is an option that instead of using the Notes for Certification box, which gets refreshed every time you submit, then you have the option to upload a PDF version of it, and that actually gets kept throughout submissions. And so you don't need to re-upload it every time, which is really helpful, especially if you end up having to resubmit a couple of times and the testing instructions are comprehensive enough that they don't need to come back to you and go back and forth with it. So Juan is on here as well. He is our key point of contact working on the validation flow. So I appreciate him going through and looking at the questions. I'll do so once I'm done here. So those are the top 5 things. We also included some resources here. The key marketplace policies that apply to Office add-ins. They're general policies that apply pretty much anything going on to the marketplace. Office add-ins are considered part of M365, so those policies can also apply. And of course, the Office add-ins policies. We still recommend that you go through all of these certification policies because depending on what features you're using or what you're connected to, like particularly the SaaS apps, for example, then there are some policies that apply to that specifically. And if your add-in is connected in that way, you want to make sure that you read those policies and meet those requirements as well. There are also a couple of document pages that are like the checklist, the submission guide. Those have like screenshots and steps to help guide you through the process. So that's basically all I had. Once we have the blog published, we will make sure that we have that information posted with the recording of this online so that you have that information when that goes up. So I think that's it for me. Thank you very much for your attention. If you have any questions you want to mention, let me know, but I'll be checking through the chat after this. Thanks, everyone.
Great. Thanks, Elizabeth. That was super awesome. We now have a few Q&A questions that were submitted pre the community call that we will be going over. Starting off, the first question was, when using SSO, the samples use a .env file to contain the secret. Are there any links on where to put the secret when you release to production? So the answer is, we recommend you use something like Azure Key Vault for securely storing and accessing secrets on your production app service. There's a link here that you can follow that gives more information on the Microsoft documentation. We'll also be posting the questions and their respective answers on the blog post. Secondly, this was a question about an email signature management software called Scribe. So there was an Outlook add-in developed with event-based integration to insert the signature on the specific event, but they would like users that have aliases, and when they change the from address, they'd be like to re-trigger their add-in script to insert their signature, and they were just wondering if there's a way to do that. So there actually is a feature that will be delivered in the near future. We don't have an exact date or the exact roadmap we can provide you yet, but we will update you on that, so stay tuned.
Hey, Preethika, this is Juan here. I just want to add that the feature is in preview, but we are going to share some documentation in the near future so that you guys can start actually playing with the from change events. Thank you.
Awesome. That's a great update. Thanks, Juan. Next question was if we could explain the difference between the MSAL node and MSAL browser. So the node is for Node.js support, and the browser is for clients running in the browser, similar to SPA. There are a few documentations that we shared here that may come in handy to help you further understand the difference. So the top outlines all the complete list of platforms supported by MSAL. So feel free to use this link. And then this GitHub link below that provides a lot more in-depth information for MSAL nodes specifically. All right, and this is kind of a lengthy question, but the gist was how to specifically select the correct API requirement set for this specific multi-host add-in. I would recommend submitting this question to this link right here to get the exact answer for this specific add-in. So I would provide all these details and then submit that question there. And all right, so that was all for the Q&A section today, but I believe David had one more thing he would like to talk about.
Hi, Preethika. Thanks. Yeah, so I just wanted to follow up on a question that was asked a couple months ago. Someone was asking for us to add some snippets to ScriptLab for PowerPoint. There were some preview APIs that were demoed back in, I think it was like March or April. So somebody was saying, hey, could you add those to PowerPoint? So I was just going to let folks know that's there. I can just show you real quick where they're at. Let me just share screen here. So if you open up PowerPoint, open up ScriptLab, go to the samples, there is a shapes section. So like all the APIs for getting, setting, and loading and saving shapes are here. And you can run those, you can create shapes, you can go ahead and select some, you can change the colors, stuff like this. So anyway, there's all those samples if you want to take a look at those APIs. By the way, these APIs are in GA now. There's also some slide management ones. There's these get, set, load, and save slides. So you can also work with this one and like set the selection. So like this is 2, 4, and 5 are selected, or you can get info about them and it returns the information. And then the other one that's in here is text selections. This one down the text section. So you can have some text, and you can say, let's select some characters, or let's change the color, and it changes the color, and so on. So I just want to point out, if you want to play with those new APIs, you can go check out the code in ScriptLab. Thanks, Preethika.
Thanks, David. That's awesome. I know that this has been an ask for a while. All right, so that was the end of our Q&A section. But if you are new to the Office add-ins community, here are a few resources here that you can always use. So there's our documentation link, a few quick starts, ScriptLab, our samples repo, the M365 developer program, and a link to the OfficeScript documentation that you can follow here. If you'd like to engage with the team, we have a few places that you can go to. If you have technical questions about Office add-ins specifically, you can go to this aka.ms link right here or Stack Overflow. If you have product bugs, feel free to submit an issue in our office.js repo. And for any feature requests or ideas, we have an M365 dev suggestions page. It'd always be great to hear new feature ideas from you all. And feel free to send a smile or frown if you like our products and features at Inside Office. So we also do have a few different calls that you could attend. They're all listed here. This PowerPoint will also be on the blog post, so you can reference them at any time. So if you'd also like to attend other community calls about different things across Microsoft, feel free to attend these as well. And all right, so that is all for this community call. This is the last one of this calendar year. Thank you all for attending. We will be having another one in 2023 on January 11th at 8 a.m. Pacific time. Once again, the blog post will be available about a week from now, so the questions here will be answered there, and you'll have all the content from today's community call as well. Great. Thank you, everyone.